Well, this here is Mark and Dave, and they're going to run us through this bus that we have running at Shuttleworth. So, Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit about how it works?
Okay, it's called the Wellingborough because it used to operate up near Wellingborough, quite close to here. It dates from 1913. It's double-decker, and it was designed initially as a single-decker. It was basically based on the horse-drawn omnibus. They put an engine in the front, and then they put seats on the roof, and that's how we developed a double-decker bus. And that's it used to operate as a bus service up near Wellingborough. It's four-cylinder petrol engine, about 6 litres in total. You can see it's a standard Leyland design, which was used on all sorts of vehicles. A bus operator would buy the chassis and engine, and then get someone to build the body or build it himself and put it on the chassis. And then it might end up, take the body off, and it could have converted it into a truck or a lorry or a removals van or another bus. And that's how they worked. Most of this is original. All the engine, the drive shafts, the wheels, you can see it's solid, tired, are all original. The body has been, had a lot of work done on it, obviously, but the original body was found in a field in Wellingborough, where it's been sitting for something like 50 years. It's made of Russian redwood, apparently, so it's very long-lasting. So a lot of the work has now been done on it. The seats are new on the top and so on. This is one of 3 buses. You can see another one there, which is called the Shower Bus next to it. The other one we have is called the White Rose. All of these buses were restored by Mike Sutcliffe, MBE, who spent a lot of his life, he's still alive actually, retired now, so he sold them off. We bought 3 of them from him. He focused on Leyland, he was a Leyland expert, and he basically sourced all the bits. He made it look exactly as it was. That's why you have the adverts on it, that's why you have all the, if you look at the paintwork along the side, it's incredible, some of it, the way it's been reproduced. It's got everything that was on the original bus has been painted back on here. The speed limit 12 miles an hour and so on, with that big sign Wellingborough on it. Now we use it here for all sorts of things, but we take it out there, shows. Like all of the vehicles here, they work. Unlike most of the vehicles here, you can publicly ride on these. So it's a big draw attraction for visitors to Shuttleworth to have a ride on an old double-decker like this, particularly if you can go upstairs, and particularly if you're a kid, because they've never seen anything like it. We also use it for school visits. We get school coming here and doing all the educational bit, and then we give them a ride on the bus, and they love that as well. And we'll also just run it up and down, as we will this afternoon, and pick up passengers who want to have a quick ride on it up and down the hangers.
Yeah, so Dave, could you tell us a little bit about what it takes to keep this thing running all the way into 2021?
Yes, the challenge for us really is that you can't ring up Unipart and say, I need a new water pump drive shaft for a 1913 Leyland engine. So if a part wears, we tend to machine up a replacement part. We recently replaced the drive shaft for the water pump on the green shower bus over there. The engine on this particular bus was taken out and rebuilt, stripped down and rebuilt over the winter for this season because there were problems with the 3rd cylinder. We needed to replace some of the valves. Again, it was a case of machining up the part and rebuilding the engine. We're still sort of running this one in. So there's a routine that we need to go through every time we try to run the bus. Obvious things like checking the coolant level and the oil level, but also because it's so heavily engineered, lubrication of joints and things like that is quite significant. So we've got a checklist that we work our way through. It takes about half an hour to an hour just to make sure she's ready, roadworthy and safe. An example of safety would be, for example, when they built this bus, the national speed limit was 12 miles an hour, so there's no such thing as a short bus ride. But because it was restricted to 12 miles an hour, the brakes are hand operated. And because they're not hydraulic, they operate on the rear wheels only. So it's important for the driver when he's driving it to be able to predict a dangerous circumstance. And that's one of the things that we focus on very heavily here when we're driving them on a busy flying day is other risks. So a young toddler running away from his parents or somebody wandering along looking at a mobile phone would step out in front of a Sherman tank if we could, because they lose. And we learn to recognise those things.
Because these are running all the time during air shows.
Yes, pretty much.
7 hours, yeah.
Yes, we run, as Mark said, we run them at weddings as well, air shows, school visits, and the bus team come in here every Thursday to do work on the buses, and invariably part of the fun of that process is getting them out, as we will later on today, driving them, refreshing our skills at driving them, walking through the maintenance routines and things like that.
But driving one of these takes quite a bit of practice.
Yes.
There's no synchromesh on any of the gears. There's no power assisting steering. The clutch is extremely heavy, and you build up your muscles, but you have to be very careful you're not crunching away at the gears all the time, because it's an old bus. It has to be treated with respect. It's fun. Once you get the hang of it, it's fun.
Well, thanks guys, and thanks
right.
for giving me a little in-depth look at the bus we use here at Shuttleworth.